Why do humans love and fear fire? Every single human alive today carries a brain that was shaped by fire. No, seriously, without fire, your life wouldn't just be different. You probably wouldn't even be human as you know yourself today. You wouldn't be watching YouTube. You wouldn't be carrying a smartphone. Civilization itself might never have existed. But here's what's truly strange. Fire cooks our food, keeps us warm, can calm our minds, can hold our attention for hours. Yet it's also one of the most destructive forces on Earth. It can wipe out entire forests, destroy cities, and kill within minutes. So why does the human brain feel both comfort and fear when staring at the exact same flame? The answer begins nearly 2 million years ago, when night was something our ancestors genuinely feared. Back then, humans weren't the hunters. We were often the hunted. As the sun disappeared, the world belonged to lions, hyenas, leopards, and countless predators that could see, hear, and hunt far better than we could. There were no houses, no flashlights, no walls, no safe place to hide. Once darkness arrived, surviving until sunrise was never guaranteed. Then nature occasionally performed something spectacular. Lightning struck dry trees, volcanoes ignited forests, wildfires spread across the landscape, and every animal ran. But at some point, one species stopped running. Instead of escaping the flames, our ancestors watched them, and eventually, they carried them. Scientists still don't know exactly when humans first controlled fire. There isn't a single moment frozen in history. Instead, archaeologists have spent decades piecing together thousands of tiny clues buried beneath ancient soil. Burned bones, charcoal, ash, heat-damaged stone tools. Each discovery adds another piece to one of humanity's greatest mysteries. One of the strongest pieces of evidence comes from Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. In 2012, archaeologist Francesco Berna and an international team discovered microscopic plant ash and burned bone fragments buried deep inside the cave. The sediments surrounding them were almost 1 million years old. More importantly, the ash wasn't near the entrance. It was over 30 meters inside, far beyond where a natural wildfire could easily carry it. Microscopic analysis showed the material had burned exactly where it was found. If the researchers are correct, our ancestors weren't simply watching wildfires anymore. They had begun bringing fire into their own shelter. Think about how incredible that really is. Keeping fire alive isn't easy. You have to protect it, feed it, carry it, plan ahead. For hundreds of thousands of years, early humans probably couldn't create fire whenever they wanted. Most researchers believe they relied on naturally occurring fires started by lightning or volcanic activity. If the flame went out, there may have been no easy way to replace it. Imagine living in a world where your most valuable possession wasn't food or a weapon, but a single glowing ember. Because without it, the night belonged to everything trying to kill you. Then, around 790,000 years ago, another extraordinary discovery appears. At a site called Gesher, Benot in modern-day Israel, archaeologists uncovered repeated clusters of burned wood, charred seeds, heated stone tools, and fish remains. The findings, published in 2004 by archaeologist Nama Goran Inbar and her team, suggested something remarkable. These weren't random wildfires. The burned materials appeared in the same locations again and again, almost like ancient campfires. For perhaps the first time, fire had become part of everyday life. And once that happened, human evolution changed forever. Because fire didn't simply protect us, it transformed us. Your brain uses roughly 20% of all the energy your body produces, despite making up only about 2% of your body weight. It's one of the most expensive organs in nature. Millions of years ago, as early human brains slowly grew larger, our ancestors faced a serious problem. Big brains require enormous amounts of energy. Raw food wasn't enough. Raw meat is difficult to chew. Raw plants are hard to digest. Even when you eat enough, your body can't unlock every calorie trapped inside the food. Cooking changes that completely. Heat softens muscle fibers, breaks down plant cell walls, makes starches easier to digest, kills many dangerous parasites and bacteria. And most importantly, it allows your body to extract far more usable energy from exactly the same meal. You're not eating more food, you're getting more from every bite. That idea became famous through biological anthropologist Richard Wrangham. After decades studying chimpanzees and human evolution, he proposed one of the most influential ideas in anthropology. Humans didn't become brilliant and then start cooking. Cooking helped make humans brilliant. The idea is still debated. Many scientists believe hunting, cooperation, and other factors also played major roles. But almost everyone agrees on one thing. Fire permanently changed the human diet. And once our bodies had access to more energy, evolution had something entirely new to work with. Over thousands of generations, our teeth became smaller, our jaws became lighter, our digestive system became more efficient. Instead of spending enormous amounts of energy processing raw food, more energy could support something far more demanding, the human brain. And that may have been the beginning of the greatest transformation our species would ever experience. Because the biggest gift fire gave humanity wasn't inside the body, it was inside the mind. Fire changed our bodies, but something even more extraordinary happened. It began changing the human mind. Think about what happened every evening for hundreds of thousands of years. The sun disappeared, the temperature dropped, predators became active. But this time, humans didn't retreat into complete darkness. They gathered around a fire. That single habit may have changed our species forever. For the first time in history, people had time that wasn't entirely devoted to survival. During the day, every second mattered. Finding food, making tools, watching for predators, protecting children. But after sunset, the fire bought something priceless. Time. Time to teach, time to observe, time to remember. Anthropologists believe these nightly gatherings became one of humanity's first classrooms. A skilled hunter could demonstrate how to shape a stone spear. An experienced gatherer could explain which plants were poisonous. Parents could pass knowledge to their children without rushing to the next task. Instead of every generation starting from scratch, knowledge could accumulate. One idea became two, two became 10, and over thousands of generations, those ideas became civilization. Some researchers have even suggested that fire created the perfect environment for language to become more sophisticated, not because flames magically created speech, but because they created long periods where people could simply talk. Whether that directly shaped language is still debated, but almost every anthropologist agrees that fire transformed human social life. And surprisingly, your brain still remembers it. In 2014, researchers studying people's responses to fireplaces found something unexpected. People watching a real fire with the natural sound of crackling wood became noticeably more relaxed than people watching the exact same fire without sound. Their blood pressure dropped. They reported feeling calmer, more comfortable. Thousands of years later, a simple fire can still influence your body. Maybe you've experienced it yourself. You can stare into a campfire for 30 minutes without realizing how much time has passed. That isn't an accident. Fire constantly changes shape. No flame is ever identical to the one before it. Your brain is naturally attracted to movement and patterns. Fire gives it both. It's predictable enough to feel safe, yet unpredictable enough to remain endlessly interesting. Few things in nature can hold our attention like that, which explains why millions of people today still light fireplaces, sit around bonfires, or even watch videos of burning logs on YouTube. But if fire makes us feel safe, why are we also terrified of it? Because evolution never wanted humans to completely trust fire. It wanted us to respect it. The same flame that cooked your dinner could destroy your shelter. The same ember keeping predators away could burn down an entire forest. Unlike a lion or a snake, fire doesn't choose when to attack. It spreads wherever fuel allows it, and it doesn't stop because you're stronger or smarter. Your body knows that instinctively. Touch a hot stove. You don't consciously decide to move your hand. It happens before you're even aware of the pain. That's because the signal never waits for your brain. It travels through your spinal cord, triggering what's called a withdrawal reflex, one of the fastest survival systems your body possesses. For early humans, this reaction could mean the difference between life and death. A severe burn wasn't just painful. It could become infected. It could prevent you from hunting, or gathering food, or keeping up with your group. Long before hospitals existed, even a small injury carried enormous risk. Evolution rewarded those who reacted instantly, and that ancient survival system still protects you today. But here's something even more fascinating. Your brain doesn't fear every fire equally. A candle on a birthday cake feels harmless. A fireplace inside a home feels comforting. A campfire surrounded by stones feels safe. Yet a wildfire approaching a town creates immediate panic. The fire is still the same. The difference is control. Psychologists have found that humans respond very differently to dangers they believe they can control, compared to dangers that feel unpredictable. Once fire escapes our control, our ancient survival instincts take over, and history has shown us exactly why. The Great Fire of London in 1666 destroyed over 13,000 homes in just 4 days. Entire neighborhoods disappeared. The disaster permanently changed how cities were built. Wooden buildings gradually gave way to brick and stone. Because even after thousands of years, humanity still hadn't fully mastered the force that made civilization possible. We learned to use fire, but we never truly conquered it. And yet, despite all its danger, fire would go on to shape every major invention that followed, from the first metal tools to the rockets that now leave Earth itself, because the story of fire was only just beginning. By now, it's easy to think of fire as just another invention, like the wheel or the compass or electricity. But fire was never just another invention. It was the invention that made almost every other invention possible. Take metal. For thousands of years, humans could only shape stone, wood, and bone. Useful, but limited. Then someone discovered that certain rocks changed completely when exposed to extreme heat. Copper, then bronze, then iron. Suddenly, tools became stronger, weapons became sharper, farming became easier. Entire civilizations grew because humans learned to control temperatures that nature had hidden inside stone. Then came pottery. At first, clay was soft, fragile, almost useless. But once it passed through fire, It became hard enough to store food and water for months. That meant people no longer had to consume everything they gathered immediately. Communities could survive droughts, villages became towns, and towns became cities. Even glass, one of the strangest materials humans have ever created, exists because of fire. Take ordinary sand, heat it to over 1,700 degrees Celsius, and it transforms into something transparent. Without glass, there would be no windows, no microscopes, no telescopes, no cameras, no fiber optic cables carrying information across continents. Every time you unlock your phone, you're relying on materials that only exist because humans mastered heat. And then, everything accelerated. The Industrial Revolution wasn't really a story about machines. It was a story about fire. Coal burned beneath giant boilers. The heat turned water into steam. The steam powered engines. Those engines powered factories. Factories transformed transportation. Transportation connected continents. For the first time in history, human civilization was no longer limited by muscles. Not human muscles, not animal muscles, but by the energy locked inside fire. And even today, that relationship hasn't ended. Every brick in a modern building was fired in a kiln. Every piece of steel passed through furnaces hotter than lava. Every airplane engine works by controlling explosions thousands of times every minute. Every rocket leaving Earth is nothing more than controlled fire, powerful enough to escape the planet's gravity. Think about that. The same force that once frightened a small group of early humans standing on an African savanna now carries spacecraft to other worlds. That's not just progress. That's one of the greatest transformations in the history of life. But after everything we've learned, one question still remains. Why? After more than 1,000,000 years, can we still sit in front of a campfire and completely lose track of time? Maybe it's because your brain isn't just looking at flames. It's remembering what those flames once meant. For your ancestors, fire wasn't entertainment. It was another night survived, another meal cooked, another chance to see tomorrow. It was where children learned from their parents, where hunters shared what they had seen, where strangers became families. Long before there were schools, there was a campfire. Long before there were governments, there was a campfire. Long before there were books, there was a campfire. That small circle of light became humanity's first classroom, its first dining table, its first meeting room, its first safe place. For hundreds of thousands of years, generation after generation, our ancestors ended their day the same way, watching flames dance in the darkness. Maybe that's why, even now, something deep inside us still feels at peace when we see one. Not because fire is magical, but because it became woven into our evolution, into our history, into nearly every step that made us human. So the next time you light a candle, sit beside a bonfire, or watch flames crackle in a fireplace, remember this. You're not just looking at burning wood. You're looking at the force that helped shape your body, fed your brain, protected your ancestors, built your civilization, and ultimately changed the course of human history forever. From a single ember carried across the African wilderness to the roaring engines that launch rockets into space, it's been the same story, just a bigger fire. And maybe that's why, after all this time, we still can't look away.